went on this trip for many reasons. One of them was to have the space and time to really knock out a good portion of this. And I came in thinking I was almost done. In a way, I'm leaving at the same level, but the level of the book has grown tremendously, mostly in the elements that I've added, the cohesiveness, the clarity, the message. I think what's most surprising is like, when I came to Oakland, I thought I was like 75% done with the book overall, and probably even more complete on the sequencing. The sequencing is just the order of the images, but in order to know the order of the images, you need to know what images are going to be in the book to begin with. What I always knew is it's a back and forth. It's not a linear process all the time. So first, I want to talk more about the non-technical, the loose, and that is the clarity that the last week or so has brought on the book. I've been balancing the amount of features, if you will, that are in the book. Things that you could put in, and I have played around with or thought about putting in. And so the first part of clarity that I've gotten is, how many things am I going to put in here? What is going to not be too messy? What is going to be clean? What is going to be impactful? Like, you can do anything you want, you just can't do it all at the same time. For now, I've taken out the margin area. I also had an idea to have illustrations on top of images, like overlaid illustration, and I've pulled that out as well. Another component of that clarity is just continuing to call images, deciding what is going to be in there and what is not. So what I can do is show you the graveyard that I've been building. And I think also the more time you spend with it, the weak joints really start to reveal themselves. Like, this is a good example. There's an image paired with this of me pointing to like a buffalo when I was in Utah, and then paired with it is Kendall pointing to the right. And so that was the spread, is you just had like these pointing things together, which is like, okay, it just didn't have nothing to do anything. Like, what's the pointing for? I'm like, it don't hold a candle to like the other images I have in here. And on top of that, the images aren't crazy. You know, like they don't stand on their own, which is fine. Like some images are not going to be ones that can stand on their own. They need to be put in concert with something else, and then, you know, you have some synergy there. So this example of something that I had to push to the graveyard. This is another one. This woman sitting at the top of the mountain looking out. It just became clear to me that the story I wanted to tell here was more about independence and doing things on your own. I got this basketball photo and the garden photo. The garden photo just wasn't like raw enough on its own for this book. In the future, I'm interested in making a body of work around middle-aged people, and so this like will have a chance in there. It'll make more sense there. So that's what I made to the graveyard. The hoop joint, this is nice, but it was saturated for hoop images, what I had in there. And another part of the tightening of the sequencing that I've done the last week really is just pulling it down to the most essential images. Like, how can I tell this story in the fewest images possible? An earlier idea that I had for section transitions had to die, which was, I had like 3 or 4 of these skateboarding images. You can see 2 pictured here, which are actually, I like both of these images a lot, and they worked really well for where they were at. The problem was, one, even before I got to these section stuff, I only had so many of these skateboarding images. I had like 3, but I got 10 sections. So like every one didn't have it. So it wasn't consistent enough. The second problem, what is the skateboard image doing? It's not really doing the beef of the work on the transition. It don't have nothing to do with that section. Like, it's not about skateboarding. So this is a big one I had to remove after staring at it for so long and working on it. Things worked out where I feel like all the images found the correct place. So that's a component of the clarity. I hope I mentioned it earlier, but this book is also have essays. I removed what I thought was the weakest essay. One, it allowed me to put words where the strongest emotion was. It's balanced on, I'm telling all the stories I need to tell. The next huge thing that I accomplished on this trip is nailing down what the concept for illustrations would be like, what those illustrations would start to look like, and where they would be used in the books. there can be illustrations that have some caricature of myself. There'll be a stand-in for that portrait that I was going to use. And there'll be a lot more depth that I can put into an illustration. And on top of that, it's like a whole new medium to introduce to the books. And then you also have symbols within the room, so objects. So the caricature can show emotion or whatever it is through gesturing, through emotion. On top of that, you have the layering of the symbols. So all those things can change and morph in order to show whatever that section means. What do I have left to do? I think bringing these illustrations into fruition is going to be a big component. I need to tighten up essays. I need to finalize cover. I have some decisions to make there on like basically what material. I finally found a printer that does cloth covers and other textured covers, which is really appealing to me. So I'm balancing between economically what I can do and how far I can push the book physically. And then the last thing and the biggest thing is the images themselves and altering those. So obviously there's a whole slew of edits that you can do to an image, and my main goals in making a book are to make it cohesive such that there's no jarring transitions between the edits of an image. An easy example is like you don't want to go from a super warm image to a super cool image unless there's really some intention behind that. Whenever this comes out, I think this would be a defining week for making progress on it. I'm definitely getting closer, and there's still more work to do.